morning everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and today it is Design Team Thursday and we are talking Christmas cards using Dear Julie Julie's Pink Christmas digital kit, and I will link that kit down below. I also showcased the kit page by page on this past Monday's video for our new monthly challenge, so if you want to see what's in there, either go to Julie's Etsy shop page or check out my video on Monday. It's time to think Christmas whether we're ready or not. So this is the kit. This is the card that we are making from Julie's kit today. The digital is from her kit. And then the sentiment inside and out are from a retired set from Stampin Up called Best Gifts. And those are the two things I'm using today. I'm also using Stampin Up Pink Pirouette cardstock and gold foil and Whisper White cardstock. The gems are also from Stampin Up and still available. They are our Petal Pink Rhinestones. So let's get started. I decided to do something different. I really like this. This is one of the large tags from the digital kit, and I decided I was going to try making a business-sized envelope card this time. Haven't made any of those in a very long time. So I just love these little cherub angel girls. I thought they were so pretty. So I will have the description, the dimensions on my blog post today. If you need the dimensions and want to make this card, they will be there. So I started off with this digital, and I'm going to cut it out really quick. And I'm just lining my cutter up as best I can with that edge of that paper. There we go, and that will take care of that one. There are some really pretty images on here. Now this measures roughly, I want to trim this to be 8 inches by 3.5. And I started by trimming majority of it off of this side. So I'll take a little bit off of there, and then I want to see if I can get to that 8-inch mark right there and take a little bit off this side. And that will take those out. Then we're going to trim the gold piece 8 1/4 by 3 3/4, which means it's it's an 1/8 of an inch larger all the way around. And I've already cut this to 3 1/4. Oh, I thought I had cut this. Yeah, 3 3/4 and by 8 1/4, like that. Okay, that one's cut. Our inside white piece is from, I'm cutting it from 32-pound paper, and it needs to be 4 inches by, no, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. What does it need to be? I didn't write it down. It needs to be 3 3/4 by 8. Yeah, same size as our dimensions. So 3 3/4 right there by 8 inches. I guess I hadn't trimmed that one completely yet. So there's our inside liner page. And then our pink cardstock. I'm pulling paper here. I thought I had a piece of it out, but I had to recut it. Okay, so our pink needs to be 8 inches by 8.5, but you need to make sure you're able to fold. So I'm going to leave this at 8.5, and then we're going to turn it and we're going to go to 8 inches. And then don't turn it. That's where I made my mistake the first time. I turned it and I shouldn't have done that. Yep. And then we're going to go, this is 8 inches, we need to trim it in half, so we're going to go to our 4-inch. And somewhere here I have a scoring tool. And trim it at, or score it at 4 inches. And I think I've cut the other pieces. So we're going to fold this on our score line. And really burnish it down good. Okay. Now for this, remember when we did a card here earlier and there's just a lot of gold to waste behind a card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down, come in at a diagonal from the corner, and I'm going to come in about 1 inch. And I'm making marks on the back so they don't show. So Bob got home yesterday, and already we're starting to run. He's got to get his truck fixed, and we've got stuff that needs to go into recycling. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this to my mark Doesn't have to be perfect. Just as long as we know that the cutout is going to fall behind our mat, our image. So like that. Now you can cut this out with scissors if you want. I use my paper trimmer. And this is when a shorter paper trimmer would come in handy. But I try to line that up roughly in my track, and if I need guidance here, I just kind of use my scoring tool, and yep, it's going to fall right on that track. And then most trimmers have this little nub here. This is where you line up with your line here. And we're going to follow that up, and when we get that, match that up with that line there, then we stop. Come back and do the same thing. Line it up with that line. And if you can trim inside of that line, it's even better, because then you know you're going to not be showing anything. Just like that. I think that does that. And then we're going to pop that piece of gold out, and we've got it in reserve for another project. Now, this one we can glue down to the pink. I've been having trouble getting these new glues to start running. I've been having to poke tips in them. They seem to have quite a bit of air pockets in them. And then this time it worked perfectly. Go figure. I'm going to put a little bit more in that corner just to make sure that it adheres down. Okay. And to make sure I square this up, I'm going to lay this open flat instead of trying to work on it, trying to pop up at me. And just center that on the front of our card. Now, glue does not adhere very well to the gold, to the metal, so that's a good place to use your tear and tape. But before we do that, this white is going to really pop off of that gold, and I want to blend into the background a little bit. So I'm using the gold pigment from Teresa Collins, and I'm just rubbing it down the edge. I'm not really distressing it, doing the bump and brush like we do when we're distressing. I'm just running that edge, just gilding that edge a little bit. Not distressing, gilding. And that's from Teresa Collins. And then we're going to come back here with the tear and tape, because the tear and tape will adhere to the foil much better. Now I use the tear and tape from Crafter's Square at Dollar Tree. It works just fine. Just like that. And they don't necessarily have to meet, just as long as you've got a nice stretch there going. And then I'm using the pick and score tool from Dollar Tree. And then after I score that down, I can come back in with the tip and lift that paper right out of the way. Just like that. Now I'm trying to make this as close to 15 minutes as under as I can. I'm getting a late start with my videos this morning, and it's going to take it a while to upload. So make sure you're putting this on right side up. That's always a good thing. And see how that gold kind of blends in to the background there. Okay, now we've got this wording here we want to do something with. And what I've done is I've cut a piece of gold that is 4 3/4 inches by 3/4 inches, and I've cut a piece of white. Initially it was 4 inches, but it needs to come down to 3 inches. I had cut it a little long. So I'm going to trim that off. Okay. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment in this one in Memento Tuxedo Black. And it's a Christmas wish for you. And we're going to stamp it right in the center of that. Just like that. Okay, and then this one we're going to use the tab punch from Dollar Tree, or from Stampin' Up. And we're going to snake this, snake tongue or dovetail or whatever you want to call it. Now you can do this the old-fashioned way with finding your center and trimming with your scissors. I have the tools. I like to use them. And then this again is because it's going to the glue, or going to the metallic. We want to put that on there with the tear and tape. But because it's going on that gold, we want to do that edge first. So just do a swipe, turn, swipe, swipe, turn, and swipe. Okay. And then we're going to put a piece of tear and tape across the back, just like that. I hope I'm staying in frame. I'm standing up, and I sometimes forget to check. But I'm using my stool back here to set stuff on as I work. And then we'll center that right on there. And now this one I decided to use the dimensionals and pop it up a little bit. So I'm going to put a dimensional on each corner in the pocket of each of those tongues. This one could have went over just a little bit more. But it's good. It's good. We'll leave it there. Probably because I tried to put it too close up to the top. And then you don't want this. There are two there. Interesting. We only need one. There are two of them there. I am not going to fussy with it. We're just going to get a new one. How's that? And you don't want this springy loose stuff in the center. So what I do is I take part of my edge. I'm going to clip this right here, so that I'm getting just the edge of that, nothing that I can waste. And I will put it in the center, and then we don't have that loose, bouncy trampoline thing going on in the center. Okay. And then it's going to go, I used it to cover up majority of the wording here on this, just like that. And then I'm using the Petal Pink Rhinestones from Stampin' Up. And normally I would go in and put a dab of glue under here, but I will do that later. They are adhesive backed, but sometimes I just don't trust the adhesive on any bling, not just Stampin' Ups, on any bling that I buy. I just don't trust that little glue dot thingy they've got going on the back. And there's our card for Design Team Thursday. Not sure what's coming up in the next few weeks, but we'll see. Oh, we didn't do we didn't do that inside sheet, did we? Okay. Is this the one? This is the one. It felt kind of heavy. I used the sentiment, "May the season's best gifts bring you memories of joy and wonder," on the inside. And we'll center top center, just like that. And then I'm coming in with the holly leaf that is from there. And I'm just going to try and position it in each of the corners. And then I use Stampin' Blends to color in the image. You could use colored pencils or anything else that you'd want to use. And since we were going with the pinks, although I didn't really have a pink, I just couldn't do pink for a hollyberry. I did the light cherry cobbler, because cherry cobbler still has that vintage tone. And dotted each of the hollyberries in the top edge. And then I came back with dark soft seafoam in our Blendabilities. Stampin' Up blends. Blendabilities, yeah, that's them. And it just adds a little pop of color and still brings some of the coloring from the outside into the inside of the card. Nothing really extensive, just a little color. And then this one we can glue on the inside. You want to make sure when using Stampin' Blends that you've got some kind of a paper behind you, because they will bleed through. They are an alcohol marker. They will blend through. Just run my little squiggly here to hold that on the inside of the card. Now remember, Saturday will be, tomorrow I'm showing off my kit for the November Favorite Things Junk Journal Challenge. Saturday will be Stampin' Up, will be Shout Out Saturday, and remember, the best way to enjoy Shout Out Saturday with me is if you are a subscriber, so that I can give a shout out to your channel. So remember to like, share, subscribe, and until then, I will see you tomorrow. Creative blessings.